Okay, let's talk about Walker Jenkins a little bit here. Which Walker Jenkins is the Twins' top prospect, number five pick in the 2023 draft. Um,
And why is he in the news here in Gleeman?
because he was promoted to AAA St. Paul on Tuesday. He's played three games now. Last night, which was Thursday, he had his first AAA hit, which was a double. Although right fielder kind of made a meal out of that one, but it was a double. And I think he also drew a walk, and he also made a really nice catch up against the wall in center field. So starting to get comfortable in his third game at AAA. I mean, this is notable for a couple of reasons. One, he's just the Twins' best prospect, and he's a consensus, I would say, top 20 prospect, maybe top 15 prospect across Major League Baseball. And the Twins don't have, I mean, I would say, we talked about this more in depth on the last show, but I would say he's probably the best Twins prospect in terms of not just how I view them, but like where they're ranked nationally, like where the
Sure.
consensus ranking since Buxton. And Buxton was, I think, a two-time number one
Yeah, I think he was
prospect
too. Yeah.
overall. So he's not quite at that level, but he's kind of a half step from that. And then obviously you have Mauer before that. But so it's just notable when that level of prospect gets promoted to AAA because they're one step from the majors, and you can really start to kind of dream on them even next season as part of the Twins. But what's especially notable about Walker Jenkins is that he's 20 years old, and
Right.
he's not even like almost 21. He turns 21 in February during spring training. And so he's like 20 and a half right now. And I wrote about this morning, so I'm not going to recap the whole article. Hopefully people go read it at The Athletic. But, what I tried to get into was even setting aside the skills you can point to with Walker Jenkins and the performance you can point to with Walker Jenkins, which are both very good. We can talk about those in a second. Those are what make him a great prospect, right? I mean, ever since he was coming out of high school, when he was 17, people were like, he could be the number one pick. He ended up being the
Right.
fifth pick because that was a very, very stacked draft, which maybe we'll talk about in a second. But since then, the kind of progression and the remarkable thing is to reach AAA at 20 and a half is extremely fast for anyone, as I'm about to tell you some
Sure.
numbers for. But beyond that, he's missed significant time,
Yeah,
including
you're
the
right.
first 2.5 months basically of this season
Well,
with an
like the
ankle
first two
injury.
months of last season too,
Yes,
right?
with a hamstring
Right.
injury. Here his
Right.
hamstring on opening day. And so he's basically missed like half of each of the last two seasons. Not quite, but almost. And he still got to AAA at 20
Right.
years old, which speaks to how willing the Twins are. And I know the Twins rep for 20 something years has been, oh, they never promote prospects. They keep these guys in the minors forever. I mean, Keishel's 22 and playing for them,
That
and
has changed.
Walker
Yeah,
Jenkins is
that's right.
20. I think that's changed in general across baseball. Young players are being pushed faster, and they're also producing more right away than ever before. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen a few
Yeah.
things written about this, but so it's remarkable for him to reach AAA at this point, having not significant, but months long injuries, and still get to AAA at a point that is just a rarity, regardless of performance. So I wrote about this. I'm not going to go through all of it, but he here's the thing. Like if you look back at, let's say, the last 20 years across baseball, not just with the Twins, first of all, he's the first 20-year-old to play a game at AAA for the Twins in 25 years before he was born.
Wow. Right. Yeah.
So that,
Mauer didn't even make it there. Right. Yeah.
right. Mauer played AA at 20 and then went to the majors at 21. And so that's aggressive, obviously. But then beyond that, if you look in the last 20 years for all teams, not just the Twins, there's only been 41 instances, so about two per year, of a 20-year-old player logging even 50 plate appearances at AAA. So basically, twice a year it happens. A prospect is that good
Yeah.
and that healthy and pushed that aggressively. And of those 41 prior guys, about five or six of them are so recent having done that it's impossible to evaluate their careers. Roman Anthony is now killing it for the Red Sox, but obviously, like, he hasn't
Right.
made an All-Star team. I don't think anybody doubts he's going to make an
Sure.
All-Star team.
Right.
But you have about five or six guys, and I listed them in my article, where they're just in the majors. Like, they're looking good, but
Right.
who knows? So really, it's like 35 guys have done it over the last 20 years in a way that you can have any sort of meaningful look at their career at this point. And even some of those guys are pretty young. And of those 35, 18 of them have already been an all-star in the majors,
Yeah.
which means
Right. Yeah.
just by virtue of playing a couple weeks at AAA as a 20-year-old, which Walker Jenkins is 3 games into doing, you're basically a coin flip or better, I would argue, of being a major league all-star. And that, by the way, the crazy thing is that's not factoring in the actual performance at AAA at all.
Right, yeah,
it doesn't matter if you went 0 for 100 or you hit 500. Just getting to AAA for even 50 plate appearances, which is basically like a couple weeks, gives you a coin flip to be a major league all-star, which is incredible to me.
Yep.
And you look at the names, and it's, Mike Trout, Freddie Freeman, Ronald Acuña, Andrew McCutchen, Lindor, Carlos Correa, Xander Bogaerts, Junior Caminero most recently, Riley Green most recently, some of the bright young stars who are going to make a bunch of all-star teams, obviously. Then the other thing that I thought was noteworthy about Jenkins is, even if you don't buy into that, if you're like, well, I want to see how he performs at AAA, just getting there, who cares? Okay. 20-year-olds at AA with a 900 OPS, he had a 915 OPS, I think, something like that, in 200 or more plate appearances, which he did. He's one of just 18 guys to do that in the last 20 years. That's an even smaller sample group of guys. Basically, not even one guy per season plays as well or hits as well as he did at AA as a 20-year-old. And I would say 4 of those guys are way too young to even look at, which means there are 14 guys who have done that in the last 20 years. 10 of them are already all-stars. And that number's definitely going to grow over the next several years. So you're basically like 2/3 or better to be an all-star over the last 20 years if you have a 900 OPS at AA like he did.
And welcome to the end of this video. There's lots more. For another, just click on one of these boxes.
Or click on this circle in the middle to subscribe to all of our Twins Talk.
Thank you.
Gleeman